The day everything started felt completely ordinary. I remember it because nothing about that afternoon suggested my life was about to shift. I had stopped by my mom's apartment after work, mostly out of habit. She worked late shifts at the hospital, and sometimes I'd water her plants or bring groceries. Her place was quiet, too quiet. I tossed my keys on the kitchen counter and walked through the small living room. The curtains were half open, letting in soft, golden light from the late afternoon sun. Dust floated slowly in the air. That's when I noticed a phone. It wasn't my mom's usual phone. This one was older, black, and hidden halfway under a couch cushion like someone had shoved it there in a hurry. I picked it up. The screen lit up instantly. No lock screen, just a conversation already open. I stared at it for a second before realizing something strange. The messages weren't hers. They were from someone named Emma. At first I thought it was spam or some wrong number situation, but the conversation looked personal. Very personal. Before I could scroll further, my eyes caught the most recent message. I think we should stop seeing each other. Not because I don't love you. I frowned. Not love you. That wasn't something you sent to a stranger. Curiosity pulled at me harder than it should have. I knew I shouldn't read more, but something about the words felt unfinished, like opening the middle of a story. So I scrolled up. The messages were long, emotional. Two people talking about life decisions, career plans, and timing. It felt less like drama and more like a quiet emotional love story slowly unraveling through text. I realized something strange then. This wasn't my mom's conversation at all. The phone must have belonged to someone else. Maybe a patient. Maybe a visitor who dropped it. I sighed and placed the phone on the table. I figured I'd leave it there until someone called looking for it. About 10 minutes later, the phone buzzed. A new message appeared. From Emma. Did you get home safe? I hesitated. I shouldn't reply. Obviously. But the screen kept glowing like it expected an answer. My thumb hovered over the keyboard before my brain caught up. Wrong phone, I typed. Then I sent it. 3 seconds passed. Then the typing bubble appeared. Oh wait, who is this? I leaned back in the chair. Honestly, I didn't even know why I replied again. Someone who found this phone. Another pause. Then, you found Daniel's phone. I blinked. Daniel. That must have been the guy in the messages. I felt like I had accidentally stepped into someone else's romantic breakup story. Yeah, I guess he dropped it at my mom's place. A long pause followed. Then another message appeared. Can I come pick it up? I hesitated again. Normally, I just leave it with my mom and forget about it. But something about the situation felt strangely personal already. Sure, I wrote. I'll be here for a bit. 20 minutes later, there was a knock on the door. When I opened it, I saw her. She looked about 25. Dark hair tied loosely, a light blue sweater, jeans, and tired eyes that had clearly cried recently. She glanced at me nervously. I'm Emma. I held up the phone. You looking for this? Relief crossed her face instantly. Yes, thank you. She stepped inside slowly, almost awkwardly. Sorry if that was weird, she said quietly. I shrugged. I've had weirder days. She smiled faintly. Then her eyes drifted to the phone again, like it held something painful. I shouldn't have sent that last message, she muttered. I didn't ask what she meant, but something about the sadness in her voice made the moment linger. And before leaving, she said something unexpected. If you accidentally read any of it, I hope it didn't make you think badly of him. I shook my head. No, honestly, it sounded like a right person, wrong time situation. She looked at me for a second, like I had just understood something important. Then she gave a small smile. Yeah, she said softly. That's exactly what it is. And somehow, that was the beginning. Emma texted me 2 days later. I didn't expect that. Her message was simple. Thanks again for helping with the phone. That should have been the end of it. But it wasn't. We started talking casually. First about small things, work, weather, random daily annoyances. Then longer conversations followed. The first time we met again was at a coffee shop near my office. She arrived 5 minutes late, slightly out of breath. Traffic was awful, she said, dropping into the chair. I laughed. Classic excuse. She raised an eyebrow. You saying I'm lying. Just saying suspicious timing. She smiled. That was bonding moment number 1. The second came a week later. We ended up walking through a small park after dinner, talking about childhood memories. She told me about growing up with two younger brothers who constantly broke everything in the house. I told her about being an only child and learning how to entertain myself. You must have been lonely sometimes, she said. I shrugged. You get used to quiet. She looked at me thoughtfully. That moment felt different, like she had seen something real. The third bonding moment happened during a rainy evening when we got stuck inside a bookstore cafe. We sat there for 2 hours, flipping through random books and reading terrible poetry out loud. She laughed so hard at one line, she almost knocked over her coffee. Okay, that's the worst love poem I've ever heard. Hey, I said. Somebody probably cried writing that. Yeah, out of embarrassment. But later that night, something shifted. She got quieter. Eventually, she admitted something. I haven't really dated anyone since Daniel. I nodded slowly. You still love him? She stared into her cup. Yeah, she said honestly. Then she added quietly, but sometimes love isn't enough. That sentence stayed with me. It was the first hint of something deeper, the kind of truth you only hear in a realistic love story. Despite that, our routine kept forming. Coffee on Wednesdays, dinner on Saturdays, long phone calls when neither of us wanted the night to end. Somewhere along the way, I realized I was looking forward to those moments more than anything else. But one night, while we were walking home, she said something small that stuck in my head. I might move next year, she said casually. For work. I nodded. Where? Maybe London. She said it lightly, but something in my chest tightened. It was the first quiet warning about relationship timing, and I didn't know yet how much it would matter. The first real crack didn't come from a fight. It came from a question. We were sitting on my couch one evening watching some random show neither of us cared about. Emma muted the TV and turned toward me. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I laughed softly. That's a job interview question. Humor me. I shrugged. Honestly, same city, same job maybe. Quiet life. She nodded slowly. That sounds nice. But her voice carried a hesitation. What about you? I asked. She hesitated longer. I want to move. Work abroad. Try different things. There was nothing wrong with that. But suddenly our futures didn't line up as easily as our evenings did. We didn't argue. We just sat there thinking. Later that night, after she left, I caught myself replaying the conversation again and again. That's when the overthinking started. Maybe this was temporary. Maybe we were slowly growing apart before we even realized it. And the silence between messages started lasting longer. The turning point arrived on a quiet Sunday afternoon. Emma came over looking nervous. She kept adjusting the sleeves of her sweater, avoiding eye contact. I got the offer, she said finally. London. My stomach tightened. That's amazing. She smiled weakly. I leave in 4 months. 4 months suddenly felt very short. We stood in the kitchen, neither of us moving. Finally, she said softly, I didn't expect to meet someone like you this year. I swallowed. Yes, same. The room went quiet again. No dramatic music. No big speech. Just the weight of a decision neither of us could fully control. Distance doesn't always start physically. Sometimes it starts emotionally. Texts became shorter. Calls happened less often. We both pretended everything was normal. One night, we tried recreating our usual routine, dinner and a walk. But something felt different, like we were acting inside a memory instead of living it. At one point, she reached for my hand, then pulled back slightly. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. That moment hurt more than any argument would have. Later that night, I typed a message. What are we doing? But I never sent it. The breakup happened on a quiet park bench. Late evening, street lights glowing softly. Emma sat beside me, hands folded in her lap. I think we both know this isn't about love, she said. I nodded slowly. It's about timing. She looked at me. Right person, wrong time. Neither of us raised our voices. We just spoke honestly. I don't want you to stay for me, I said. And I don't want you waiting for me, she replied. A long silence followed. Then she whispered something that hurt more than anything else. This is the healthiest breakup I've ever had and the hardest. I laughed quietly. Same. After another pause, she stood up. Then she said the line I'll never forget. I hope someday our timing is kinder. A year passed. Emma moved to London. I stayed. Life slowly grew around the empty space she left. New routines formed, different friendships, different priorities. Sometimes I still thought about her. Not with regret, just gratitude. Because what we had was real. A quiet, mature breakup that taught me something important about love. Some relationships aren't meant to last forever. Some are meant to change you. And maybe that's enough. Final line. Sometimes love doesn't fail. It simply arrives before the future is ready for it.